Silver is continuing to skyrocket. In fact, it doesn't even seem like it wants to stop. Right now, as I'm recording this video, silver is sitting at just over $95 per ounce. And what this is doing is causing a lot of stress on coin shops who are buying so much silver at such a high price that they don't even know what to do with it. They can't sell it fast enough. And what they would normally do is move it off to a refiner or a wholesaler. But today we're going to be talking with a coin shop owner who is going to tell us that even that may start becoming an issue. So today we are going to be joined by Josh from My Coin and Bullion to find out what exactly is going on with silver right now in the physical market. So I hope that you stick with me and listen what he has to say, because it was really eye-opening even for me. So let's do it, guys. But before we do, if you like videos like this and you want to learn more about silver, don't forget to go down below and make sure you are subscribed. My channel is sponsored by SD Bullion, and take a look at these, the Scottsdale Mint Eagle Stacker rounds. These are available in 1, 2, and 5 ounce sizes, and they are interlocking and very beautiful. They are available right now at sdbullion.com. Get over there and check them out. Hey everybody, welcome back. Once again, we are joined by Josh from My Coin and Bullion. Josh, $95 an ounce silver. It's incredible. It just seems like it doesn't want to go down. What is going on with silver, like, in your shop right now? Are people still getting excited about it even as it continues to go up?
They are, yeah. There's a lot of excitement both directions with buyers and sellers in this market. And I don't know, I think overall most people are pretty excited about it.
Is there any, like, I guess we'll say, fear or worry about a correction coming, like, from anybody?
You know, not a lot of people state that, but based on the amount of people that are selling silver right now, it makes me feel that, you know, for them, maybe they think it's at a peak or there's going to be a correction and they want to cash them out while they can at these high prices. But it's funny because I can think of at least 5 instances this last week. I was closed yesterday for the holiday, for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so I wasn't open yesterday. So last week, people talking to me about the silver market as they're selling. Yeah, boy, silver's really on a run. I'm hearing it could go 120 by springtime. I want to sell this. In that same breath, they're like, you know, I think it's going to go higher, but I want to sell this. So it's been really interesting. I don't know. At that point, I think they're probably just trying to take profit. But it's almost comical, and I don't question it. I mean, if they want to sell some today, that's perfectly fine. But in the same breath that they say silver's going to go higher, they're saying, I'm selling today. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. You know, I've been seeing, I don't really use Facebook, but I kind of browse like some of the posts in certain areas just, you know, to see what people are kind of saying. And then obviously I'm watching titles of YouTube videos looking at Wall Street Silver, and, you know, the people that are talking in there. And again, looking at my comments, of course. And it's just really I don't really interact with a lot of that. I interact with some of my commenters, but, you know, with like Wall Street Silver and that, I don't really interact with it. But I use it as just kind of a gauge to get an idea of what people's thoughts are around silver. And it seems like I saw a video titled yesterday saying this might be the last time we can get silver cheap. I mean, and I'm not, who knows? I don't try to make predictions like that, but I tell you this, I was around in 2011. I was stacking in 2011. This does feel a little bit different. And that doesn't mean it's not going to correct. It most certainly can, but it does feel a little bit different. Like, not just the market itself, but people's, you know, reaction and perception, I guess, of the market, like how they're reacting to it, what they feel about it. It all feels a lot different than it did back then. Now, Josh, I know you didn't have a shop in 2011, but were you involved in silver at all in 2011?
A little bit, yeah. That's around the time I started stacking. I actually started stacking in late 2010, so it was kind of almost at the precipice. Then, you know, we hit that previous modern nominal high, I guess, April 30th of 2011. So I really started stacking at $38, $39 an ounce. Saw it hit almost 50. Saw it go all the way down to 11, and now we're back up to 95, over 95 as we film this. So I've seen ups and downs as well. I wasn't into it very heavy then. I was just starting out, but yeah, I was stacking then.
Yeah. I have a friend of mine who started stacking in 2011, and he just cashed out his silver last week. It was almost $20,000 that he had cashed out, that he had spent well under half of that for. And that kind of brings me to a question. So he got backup spot for what he had sold. And my question, I guess, to you is, because I did some calls last week where I called shops, and there were some shops, like I think the best shop, and don't quote me on this, I think the best shop was -6 on rounds, -3 on eagles, and then the worst shop was -20 on both. Did you see that?
I did. I watched that video. Yeah.
Yeah, so I record. So what I've been doing, other than like, I don't record when I call like two-party consent states like California, Florida, so on and so forth. But I'll record all the one-party consent states, and rather than play all the calls because I think people kind of get bored of listening to these shops, I'll just be like, all right, here's the best one, here's the worst one, and I'm really glad I recorded that worst one because it's hard to believe. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to criticize a shop for making business decisions that they feel are, work for their shop. But I can't imagine anybody that would sell at that. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. So I guess my question there is what are the premiums looking like in your shop when you buy silver right now? If someone were to bring in rounds, someone were to bring in eagles, what are you paying? And then what helps you, or what like influences you? I guess I don't know if that's the right word, but what causes you to make the decision of the premiums that you're paying?
Okay, that's a great question, and I'll talk about that. I want to start by going back in time about a week and a half. A week and a half, we were paying $3 back of spot for silver rounds. I'm sorry, $4 back on rounds, $3 back on any type of government issued silver, Maple Leafs, Eagles, what have you. We adjusted that to $5 back of spot, 5 and 4. About midday, I believe it was Wednesday of last week, I got I don't want to say it was a frantic call, but it was an important call from my main wholesaler. He said, look, Josh, I know you're busy, but this is big. It's very important. At that time, one of the largest refiners in the country put out a letter to its customers with new prices. It was a new price sheet. On that new price sheet, it told us dealers and the wholesalers, if you have excess silver and you want to sell it to us, we're going to pay you $15 back of spot. This is coming from the refinery midday on Wednesday when I was paying $5 back for rounds. Bigger bars, I was $6 back, like 100 ounce or kilos, but 10 ounce and smaller, I was $5 back. Government issue, I was $4 back. This was middle of this last week. When I got that call, I'm in shock, and I'm already swimming in silver. I mean, sales are great. Don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of buyers in this market. It's just there's so many new sellers and more sellers that shops like mine are getting overwhelmed. You've talked about it in videos too. There's a lot of YouTube content about it. Not everybody's in that same boat. Some are running out, but for the most part, shops are swimming in it. So essentially what that did, that slammed the door on me being able to liquidate excess product at a profit or even a break even. Because here I'm buying it at $5 back of spot up to that point, only to find out, bam, here's our new price sheet. We're paying $15 back of spot if you want to sell your silver. So essentially what that tells us is they don't want to buy our 999 silver. And I'll tell you, a couple days later, they put out the letter. Now we're not buying alloyed silver. We're not buying 90% at all. We're not buying sterling silver at all. We're not buying 40%, 80%, 35%. Anything non-pure, they're not even going to buy.
And this is just, not to interrupt, but this is recent. This isn't related back to a couple of months ago when refiners.
This happened this past Wednesday, middle of the day. So now I'm scrambling. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Because I'm already thinking throughout the day it's just buying. And I'm just seeing the silver piling up, and I'm seeing my bank account go like this. I'm already strategizing in my head, okay, who can I move this to just to get my money back out so I can keep buying to satisfy the public? And then I got that call. That was, I don't know. I don't want to say it was upsetting because I understand where the refinery is coming from, because let's face it, they're overloaded too, and they're way behind in processing. So yeah, they'll buy it, but they're going to buy it damn cheap. So I was at a crossroads. What do I do? Obviously, I got to adjust my price, right? Because at the end of the day, I want to keep my doors open. I have to protect myself, and I am in business to make a profit. That's no secret, right? So I thought to myself, well, if the refiner's paying $15 back of spot and they're my best out for excess inventory to dump on them, what do I got to pay the public? Do I got to pay them 17 under spot, 20 under spot? I couldn't in good conscience do that. So I went from $5 back of spot to 10, middle of the day. I got the phone call. I had a friend of mine helping in the shop. I said, Brandon is his name. I said, Brandon, there were 4 people waiting to sell when I took that call. I said, we're going to help these people at the rates we have posted right now, but I'm taking these signs down. The next people that come in, we're going to have to talk, and I'll let you know what we're buying at. Because he comes in the shop and helps me lately a lot because we're just so busy with sellers and buyers. So we adjusted our prices to 10 back of spot on all 999 silver, $10 back. I've only had one pushback from one customer since last Wednesday. We bought half a day Wednesday, all day Thursday, all day Friday. Very little pushback. I had to do a lot of explaining. Wow, $10 back. Why is that? Well, honestly, if I get in a lurch and I need cash, I have to sell this off to my refinery and I lose $5 an ounce. But I'm working hard to flip it in a retail sense. We've ran a lot of sales back of spot to help, for those who want to buy in a market like this, to give them opportunity to stack cheap. So yeah, it's on the backs of the sellers right now that we're making those profits, but that's how it always is. But we chose that number to protect ourselves. And like I said, it could get worse. It could get worse. I'm making that work for now because I haven't had to dump to a refinery. The next step is they're not going to buy any 999. Like I said, they've already slammed the door on any alloyed non-pure silver. And that's the largest refiner in the US with offices all over the country. So it kind of sent shockwaves in my shop, in other shops, some that maybe weren't aware, maybe were a little too slow to adjust their prices. But I don't want to say I'm ashamed to say it, but I'm not proud to say that I'm offering 10 back of spot because I don't like that. I don't like having to explain that to people, but that's just the situation we're in. Go ahead.
No, I just that is actually upsetting to hear. But a long time ago, and it's funny, Daniel from Coin Help You, great channel by the way. If you guys have never watched his channel, maybe I'll put a link down below if I remember. My intent is to put one down there, but if I don't forget or if I don't remember, just search for Coin Help You. But anyway, he had posted a comment on my video last Friday where I made the coin shop calls. And he had said this as well. He said, I talked about this a long time ago. Who's going to buy silver at $100 an ounce? And here we are approaching it. I mean, as we talk right now, silver is sitting at 95, like right at $95, right? It's almost $100. It could hit it this week. And there are a lot of people. In fact, I've seen people in my Discord server who have straight up said that I never wanted to sell, but I might sell some of my silver at $100 an ounce. And how many other people are going to see that number? That is a big number. That is a trigger number. How many people are going to see that number and be like, you know what, it's time to cash out? And at this point, based on what you just said and based on the calls that I made with the shops last week, where are they going to go? It's going to get more difficult. I mean, I hate to think that the shop that offered $20 back, which sounds atrocious right now, who knows in a month from now if this continues, maybe that is just what it is, I mean, so it is really upsetting to think about for sure. Where do people go with that metal? And it's I don't know, man. I'm kind of like at a loss for words. I did not expect you to tell me that. So you guys know, Josh and I didn't actually talk before this call, so I'm hearing all of this for the first time. So
Yep.
Do you think we get to a point where shops stop buying?
Absolutely. And I think there are shops that already have stopped buying. In fact, in my own state, there are shops that have stopped buying. There are only, I have my shop in Minot. There are 2 shops in Bismarck, North Dakota. There's 1 shop in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and there's 3 shops in Fargo. So we have less than 10, and 1 shop in Stanley, North Dakota. We have less than 10 coin shops in the whole state. I mean, area-wise, we're a pretty big state, not population-wise, but area-wise. I've been told by other customers that in some of the larger populated cities other than Minot, bigger than Minot, have turned off buying or had to make, tough business decisions like I've had to do. Yes, we will continue to buy, but we're going to have to buy it at X. And even at those prices, as I said, we're not protected for the downside because even if we have to flip it at the same spot price, we're going to lose. So, I'm holding steady right now at that number, hoping that I can continue to generate enough retail sales. And granted, like I said, we're running sales offer and stuff under spot to try to move product to those that are in a position to buy. I hope there can be a healthy balance, but it's unfortunate if you're in a position where you're wanting to sell. I would just encourage people right now, unless you need the cash, don't sell. I would encourage you to shop around. Maybe there's shops that have so much retail demand and they don't have the public selling stuff back to them. I've seen videos, I think Ravenhawk, right? I think it was his video, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. They're running out of silver.
Yeah.
They have to restock the showcases a couple times a day. They'll operate and they'll run out.
That was Raven, by the way.
Yeah. So that's not the situation in my or most shops. Most shops are, over leveraged with metal and under capitalized with cash. So, that's just the market we're in right now. Could that change and flip quickly? Absolutely, because it does. We got here quite quickly, honestly. So I don't know. It's tough. And, at the bottom line, or at the end of the day, and I talked about this in a video I put out yesterday, I want to be here to be able to meet the customer's demand, especially those customers that have helped me grow as a business and helped me build my business over the years. So I want to be in a position where I don't shut my door and say, no, I can't buy your stuff.
Yeah.
But in order to do that, I got to be careful how I buy it and usually tell the story of why we are where we are. And I know there's going to be people in the comments that are going to bash everything I said, and that's fine. That's your opinion, but that's the reality in business. And I'm not alone offering those prices. I know of other shops that are paying worse in relation to spot. At a further number back of spot for metal as it's coming in, and a lot of people aren't even batting an eye or questioning it when they're going to sell, because they're still double, tripling, quadrupling their investment. And I think they understand that, we have to protect ourselves for that downside, since we don't really have an out right now, an easy out to get our money back.
Right.
So it's tough.
So I just want to say something really quick. You had said, I encourage you not to sell. Just keep in mind, we're not financial advisors. This is not financial advice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, that's, I think when you had mentioned, like, what the commenters are going to say, and I know there's going to be commenters. I see comments from people all the time saying that shops are just trying to rip people off. But I mean, I think a lot of them, the reality is they don't really understand how businesses work. And like you had said earlier, I'm in this business to turn a profit. Shops can't operate at a loss. They just can't do it. I mean, they may be able to do it for a small amount of time, but they can't operate at a loss. And now, and this is how I see it, you yourself and other shops as well are in a situation where you're buying all of this metal, and you have nowhere to go with it, and you're buying it in a market that's done nothing but skyrocket. So, I don't care what you think about, what silver's done or where you think it's going to be. The fact of the matter is that in most markets, and we don't know what silver is going to do specifically, but in most markets, when you see something go up this quickly, you generally expect a correction to happen. And where are shops going to be if let's say you're buying at $10 back of spot today. Let's say you buy 3,000 ounces, this week, more than you're able to sell across the counter, and you're buying it for more than you can actually wholesale it out. And then all of a sudden Friday, we see the markets open up and we lose $10 an ounce. What happens to shops in that situation?
We cry.
You cry.
Fill up in the fetal position and cry, because there's shops that aren't going to survive that.
Yeah.
Truly. I'm a small shop compared to a lot of them, especially in terms of the amount of capital we have to make purchases, but their shop's smaller than mine. And for those that don't have retail demand that are buying at these prices, they could very well get caught in a lurch. And I honestly believe there are shops that are not going to survive this current market, because frankly, they're going to run out of cash. And if they can't, like I said, the easy out is always, well, you send it to the wholesaler or the refiner. Well, the wholesalers aren't paying well either, because when wholesalers get overloaded, they send it to the refinery too. So they have to adjust what they're paying us as well. So it's difficult right now for sure. So, I know I said this kind of early on in the video, and it is still true. Retail sales still remain pretty strong about what they have been. For me selling product, it's just we're buying so much more. And I think a lot of dealers would echo that sentiment that sales, not all, but some sales are still pretty good, but it's just the buyers or the people selling back to the shops have just overwhelmed dealers like ourselves. And at some point we run out of cash.
Do you think we may be starting to see a disconnect between spot price and the physical price of silver? And it's funny, because I see you shaking your head yes. It's funny because we had the same situation a couple of years ago on the opposite end of the spectrum, didn't we?
Yep, we sure did.
where spot price was 25 and silver was 50. I mean, not
You're
not
paying a
a,
$20 premium to get a piece of silver.
right.
Yeah.
So do you think we're starting to see that disconnect on the other side? I mean, are you going to start seeing where shops just buy back of spot and sell back of spot, and that's just how it works right now?
I think in order to survive, you have to, because you have to protect yourself for the downside, right? Because to your point, corrections always come at some point. To what degree, we don't know. You can argue we've had minor corrections. Gosh, like every other day, it feels like for silver, it'll go to 92 and bounce to 87 and then back up. And here now we're over 95. But we got to protect ourselves by buying back of spot. So if you want to survive in this market and you're buying back of spot and you can't wholesale it out, you better find some retail demand, right? So that's when you got to offer silver back of spot. And it's kind of funny because here we're talking about this. There's great deals to be had in coin shops across the country. Go to your local coin shop. I'm guessing a lot of them are in the same situation as me, where we're overloaded with product. We're happy to get some cash back in the account by selling metal under spot because we bought it under spot, and we're passing along that savings and deal because we have no other out for it. But the problem is, in a lot of people's minds, this big disconnect, and you hear about it, how silver is priced in China right now on the Shanghai exchange. Now, I had somebody comment on a video the other day that they slap a value added tax on top of it, and that's why it's more expensive. I haven't researched that myself and don't know if it's true, but I've been hearing for weeks that the spot silver price for physical in China has been $10 to $12 more than it is here in the US. So in China, they're paying now probably $107, $108 an ounce. In the US, dealers like me are complaining that we got to buy it back of spot, but we'll sell it back of spot just to move it. So you can buy it here for $92, $93 at $95 silver spot. So that's a big disconnect. We're talking $15, $16, $17 difference in the price of physical metal halfway around the world. And that's a situation that doesn't happen very often either. So there's definitely a huge disconnect. And it begs the question, what is silver even worth right now? Yeah, you can look at the spot paper price. Is that what it's worth? Is it worth what you can sell it on the Shanghai market for? Is it worth what your dealer's going to give you? Is it worth what the wholesaler's going to pay? They're all entirely different numbers. And usually those numbers are really, within a couple dollar spread. Now we're talking $30, right?
Yeah.
If a wholesaler's paying me 15 back and China's paying almost 15 ahead, huge disconnect. So, myself and other dealers that I've spoken to, we're doing our best to navigate these times as best we can to be as fair as possible to our customers and keep our doors open. That's the ultimate goal. I mean, it's a struggle. People are saying, oh, coin dealers are getting so rich right now because the price went up. No, it's not like that. Yeah, the value of our inventory went up, but as we sell it, we got to pay these higher prices to replace it. So it's not, I don't know if people quite get that in their head. And quite honestly, profit percentages in a market like this in bullion sales are way down. I mean, if we're making $1.50 per ounce on an ounce of silver that we sold when it was $30 an ounce, that's 5% profit. Now that it's 90, if we're still making that dollar, it's a third of that. It's like a 0.5% or a 1/4% profit. So, it's difficult right now, but I'm doing everything I can to try to keep my local customer base happy, be there for them if they decide they want to buy or sell on their demand. I want to keep the doors open because I love doing this and I want to continue to do it. But I know there's shops that aren't going to be able to continue this for very long. So that's the sad, unfortunate consequence of an exponential bull market that we're in right now with silver. So doors are going to close.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that and see how that actually goes because I agree with you. I do think you're going to see shops that just don't survive this.
Yeah.
But Josh, that's really all I had for you today. We're going to have Josh back on again next week, and we'll find out how this week went, and we'll see if silver actually hits $100 an ounce this week or if it finally goes down. Who knows? But Josh, I cannot thank you enough for joining me. If you guys don't know this, Josh has his own YouTube channel here on YouTube called My Not Coin and Bullion. I'll put a link for it down below. And of course, his shop is Minot Coin and Bullion in Minot, North Dakota. Josh, thank you so much for joining us.
Anytime. Thank you.